Celebrate the 20th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts the HMK way. Grab yourself a Station of Nightfall shirt today. Check out the link in the description box below and use the code HMK20th for 20% off. As we look to the hope and the hype of the future of Kingdom Hearts, we must look to the past to remember why we all fell in love with the series in the first place. Welcome to the Memories of Kingdom Hearts with HMK. As the Dark Seeker saga came to a close with Kingdom Hearts 3, many wondered what the future would be like beyond that of the first phase of Kingdom Hearts. Many looked forward to the secret movie this time around, but no one would expect the heavy ramifications of what lied beyond the curtain in Kingdom Hearts 3 and with the secret episode in Kingdom Hearts 3 ReMind, in which for the first time in Kingdom Hearts, we got not one, not two, but 3 secret movies that tie in together the mystery of the future of Kingdom Hearts. For the first episode, we dealt with the secret movie to Kingdom Hearts 2, which was The Gathering. And then for the final mix version, Birth by Sleep, which, remember, a lot of us thought it was Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, for episode 2, we look to the future for the actual Kingdom Hearts 3 secret movie, Yozora. Now, I have a bit of a story that I love telling when it comes to my perspective of this tantalizing secret movie that spells the truth for the future, the unknown future of Phase 2 with Kingdom Hearts when it comes to the 20th anniversary and beyond. Now, when I first got Kingdom Hearts 3, I got it early thanks to Square Enix, and I was zooming through the game. I was having such a good time. It was a blast. But then, because of the internet superhighway known as the internet, Tetsuya Nomura and Square Enix decided that they weren't gonna have the secret movie like all ready to go when it comes to you beating the game and earning the secret movie or whatnot. That they're going to upload, not really upload, but release the epilogue and secret movie a couple days after release in order to bottleneck that hype and not have, all those spoilers. So if people got the game early, like super early, either when it comes to breaking NDA or when it comes to people breaking Street Date or whatever, there's still no way for them to see the secret movie or the epilogue until the update came out, which was a good way to get that surprise going. Now, the epilogue Lost Masters was great. It was awesome. It revealed that Xigbar was actually Lucia the whole time, that the foretellers are then Ava all returned in the Master of Masters. Where's the Master of Masters? And whatnot. But then we get to the secret movie. Now, my experience with this is thanks to the movies not being available at the time. I was waiting, and when finally they released, I was confused because it said on my PS4 that the Yozora movie, the secret movie, the special movie Yozora is now available. And at first I was all like, Yozora? You mean like the dude from Vane? And at first I'm like, oh, they probably, okay, so in the theater mode, in the theater menu, they probably didn't have that Vane trailer available for some reason. I guess they forgot to like plug it in. And then people complained, and then they probably just plugged it in, so now it's available now. That's what it probably is, retroactively or whatever, right? So I'm looking in the toy box section for the movie, and it's not named Yozora, and it was always there. It was like, commercial break or something like that. And I'm like, that's not called Yozora. Where's the Yozora secret? Where is it? Then I go to the secret menu, secret movie menu, and it's Yozora, and it's like at the end, past the epilogue, and I'm like, and I see the Master's hand like this, and I'm like, excuse me, what? And then we see Sora wake up. Now this, like, I'm telling you, if you guys remember your own experience with this, I was in throttle time. First, we see a drop of water go into a puddle, and I'm pretty sure that might have been, like, that's an allegory for Kai's teardrop after she cried after Sora disappeared. And then Sora wakes up, and I'm like, oh, it's Sora. Because, we all know what happens to Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. He's waking up in a city, and I'm like, wait a minute, San Francisco? This does not look like the world that never was, what's going on? And it's very colorful, very light, and then Sora's looking around. Then Riku wakes up, I'm like, oh wait, Riku. And I'm like, putting two together, I'm like, okay, Riku's probably going after Sora. Alright, Riku was, actually able to tail Sora, which, finally became a reality at the end of Melody and Memory. and then they're looking around, and I hear the theme to, you know, deep dive, another side, another story, the battle theme in the background, and then I'm like, I'm getting hyped. I'm like, what's going on? Whoa, what's going on? And then it hits us like a brick. Shibuya 104 building in the distance, and I'm like, at first I'm like, the world is you? The world is you? I'm like, yo, Sora made it to Shibuya, because of course if you play Dream Drop Distance, Neku was all like, yeah, Sora, yeah, you know, see you in Shibuya, right? And I'm like, oh, it's time, because 104, because I mean, like, of course, we had to think that as well, because 104 is specifically for, you know, Shibuya in The World Ends With You. Now, if you guys don't know, 109, which is the actual building in Japan, that's actually copyrighted, right? So whenever, you know, Shibuya is referenced or shown off in like anime, video games, or anything, they always change the numbers, right? So like for Kingdom Hearts and for The World Ends With You, it's 104. For Persona, it's 105, right? And for Bayonetta 3, it's 101, because, you know, reference to 104, 101. And I've seen other things like where they make it like 429. They just go ham. But you can tell it's the 109 building because of the shape and all that good jazz. So the 104 building, and I'm like, Sora's in Shibuya, what's going on? And it goes to Riku. And then I saw where Riku was, and the building that Riku was at first, I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen that building somewhere before, because I've been to Shibuya. I didn't spend too much time in Shinjuku, but then when I saw this building, at first I'm like, wait a minute, that kind of looks like the castle from Insomnia, from Final Fantasy 15. And as we all know, the castle, the Citadel in Insomnia is actually modeled after the Tokyo Government Metropolitan Building, which I actually haven't been to in Shinjuku. I've been to the 109 building in Shibuya. It's surprisingly small on the inside. Like, it looks big from the outside, but when you go inside, it's pretty cozy, if anything. Like, that's to say anything, right? Then we move on, and as Riku's walking in Shinjuku with the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building in the background, you hear a rendition of Somnus from Final Fantasy 15, and I'm like, nah, because I mean, at first when I saw Yozora from the Vermrex trailer, I'm like, okay, this guy looks a lot like Noctis. It's like, at first I'm like, yo, this is supposed to be like a reference to Noctis? Like, what is this? Just like, you know, some throwaway reference or whatever. And then we go to the top of the Government Metropolitan Building, and guess who's sitting there with the music playing of the Secrets of the Night? It's Yozora, just like looking all cool, like scoping out Riku. And I'm like, Yozora is real? Because I swear to God, I after the video game thing, you know, Vermrex, Beat of Lead, all that stuff, where we show Rex like, Yozora! You know, I honestly thought nothing of it, right? Even though they cut out the one cutscene from the full release of the game, because when I went to go to the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere, Rex actually says, oh, his sidekicks, Magia and Aegis, who we see in the trailer, right? So Yozora, Magia, and Aegis. They cut off the Magia and Aegis part in the full release. I don't know why. Maybe they're gonna rename the characters, or they're trying to keep it a secret. Whatever, the secret's out. So I honestly thought Yozora was not gonna be anything other than like a small nod or reference that Nomura's all like, yeah, man, you know, this is Rex playing Final Fantasy without saying Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy actually exists in Kingdom Hearts in terms of like Cloud, Aerith, Cid, R, and all that stuff. So they can't really say Final Fantasy. That's what I thought. It's like, this is Rex playing Final Fantasy 15 in Kingdom Hearts, but we can't say Final Fantasy 15, so it's like Baron Rex. And then we can't really use Noctis. And I thought, like, oh, just in case they actually use Noctis, they make a fake Noctis. But this is the real Noctis. This is the real Night Sky. He's real. He's more real than any other Final Fantasy character in the Kingdom Hearts series so far. That's the real one. And also, by the way, Nomura, this is not the first time Nomura has done this. A lot of people thought, like, oh man, Nomura, look at that, you know, bringing back a dead character, bring back, you know, another vision of a character. Yozora Noctis, you can't let Noctis go. This is not the first time he's done that. If you guys forgot, you know, Axel's literally Reno. Like, Nomura said that multiple times. Like, oh, yeah, Axel, that's Reno. Like, you know, based on Reno. Same voice actor, everything, you know, Reno. It's Reno, right? So anyways, case in point, back to the Yozora Secret Movie. I'm like, Yozora is real. And then we have someone in a coat come out, make a heart shape over the moon in Quadratum. We didn't know it was Quadratum time, so the moon over Shibuya, whatever. Japan. And Nomura did confirm later on that this is the Master of Masters, even though like all of us put two and two together. I'm like, is that the Master of Masters? Is that Xigbar, Lucio? Who's that? And I'm like, Master of Masters, because I mean, like, he's like, yeah, you know, he's weird. So when it comes to the secret movie of Yozora, I was floored because my mind was racing with so many theories. You know, the government metropolitan, the Tokyo government metropolitan building, Somnus, Insomnia, the Somnus song playing in the background, Yozora being real, the night sky, them being in the night sky, Shibuya. And if you guys, remember verse 13, originally, when Insomnia was actually explorable, they took inspiration from Shinjuku, Shibuya, the modern day Tokyo. And I'm like, so what, are we going to the real world? What's going on? And then we find out we go to the realm of unreality, the world of fiction. I'm like, that's funny. That's real funny. Like an actual world being fiction and the fictional world being actual. Ha 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 ha. But anyways, I was pumped, I was hyped, and then of course, we got Kingdom Hearts ReMind, which expanded on that, where we actually fought Yozora on top of the 104 building, which is funny because Yozora was on top of the Metropolitan building, but in ReMind, he was on top of the 104. And we got our ass beat multiple times. I actually ended up developing carpal tunnel when it comes to that boss fight. I have the video if you guys want to see it. And when we finally beat it, or when we finally got our ass beat by it, we see that Yozora is Noctis. He wakes up the same way he does in the 2011 verse 13 trailer, right? Crazy. Yeah, Nomura's Revenge. We all know that jazz. And when we beat the game, when we beat ReMind, when we beat Yozora, we find out, oh, Luke's sword is from Quadratum. He's Yozora's driver. That's why he acts all gently, because he's probably Yozora's butler. And all that good jazz. All the possibilities that have been opened up from the secret movie alone. And people thought, how can we get hyped after Kingdom Hearts 3 is over? Just like, how can we be excited for the MCU after the Avengers Endgame? Have you seen Spider-Man No Way Home? Have you been hyped for Doctor Strange? Multiverse of Madness? Like, come on now. So how can we be hyped for Kingdom Hearts after 3? This is Yozora we're talking about! That's the hype, but oh my god. The fact that he's real. The fact that this man literally brought Versus 13 from the void and shocked the world with this. It's crazy. And I still can't believe that I actually thought that Yozora was not going to amount to anything beyond what we saw. And the fact that Yozora was literally the secret movie they added afterwards. I'm like, Yozora, oh, it's probably that secret movie. Like, whatever, it's all good. And I watched it, I'm like, okay, we are more than just all good. I'm fine, I'm hyped. I'm super hyped. But I want to know what you guys think. What was your memory of Kingdom Hearts when it comes to the secret movie of Yozora? What did you feel, see, expect, cry? Were you happy? Were you hyped? Let me know what you thought when it comes to this memory of Kingdom Hearts. Now, for the finale of this miniseries, we dealt with the secret movie of Kingdom Hearts 2. We dealt with the secret movie of Kingdom Hearts 3. There's only one more left to go when it comes to 1. So until then, this has been HMK. Don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll check you guys later.
So you haven't subscribed to HMK yet? Don't piss Xemnas off.